everyone and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be testing out and reviewing the Sheglam Thin Within eyeshadow palette. So I recently did quite a big Sheglam haul. I will link that video in the description, and this is one of the palettes that I picked up, and I just really wanted to test it out and give it a full review. So the palette itself looks like this, and it does actually come in this matching uni carton as well. So this palette is vegan and cruelty free, and it contains 12 absolutely gorgeous shades. So if these aren't indicative of kind of the ocean, then I don't really know what is. And it was definitely all of these glitters and sparkle shades there that drew me to this palette. So first things first, I'm going to get all 12 shades swatched. I'll do an eyeshadow look and kind of give my thoughts as I go along about how the shades are performing, and then I'll just give some kind of overall thoughts and feelings at the end. So I really hope that you enjoy. So there is a bit of a closer look at all 12 shades in this palette. I'm going to go ahead and get them swatched row by row just so you can hopefully see them a bit more clearly. I haven't swatched this palette yet myself, so this is going to be first impressions for me as well, and I'm really excited to see how these shades swatch and ultimately how well they perform. So this is the first row of shades, and they were definitely a bit harder to swatch than I anticipated. The first two, as you can tell, are pressed glitters. They were quite difficult to kind of get out of the pan, but they have actually swatched pretty well, all things considering. So starting at the top, there is that really lovely turquoise blue pressed glitter. That is shade Aqua Glam. Underneath that is a more kind of silvery pink glitter, really gorgeous pink shift in that one. That is shade Glass Flipper. Underneath that is very subtle lilac shimmer. It does look much darker in the palette, but it has swatched quite, I don't know, not as dark as I thought it was going to swatch. That is shade Guilty Pleasure, and underneath that is another shimmer, kind of like an oil blue shimmer, and that is shade Deep Blue. So these are the next 4 shades in the palette, and this is definitely the easiest glitter so far to swatch. It just swatched really easily and really beautifully. That is shade Just Add Water, that really lovely blue glitter. Underneath that is a really lovely kind of soft purple matte shade that wasn't chalky at all, and again has swatched really well and is looking so far pretty well pigmented. That is shade Water Orchid. Underneath that is a really gorgeous bubblegum pink metallic that was very buttery and swatched really easily. That is shade Bubble Trouble, and underneath that is this really vibrant yellow matte shade. It was a little chalky in the pan, but it has actually swatched really lovely and is coming across like a really gorgeously pigmented yellow, which is always good to see, and that is shade Island Fever. And then these are the final 4 shades in the Thin Within palette. So starting at the top is the final glitter of this palette. Again, this is a very soft glitter, very easy to swatch. It's really gorgeous silvery grey. This is shade Hooked on You. Then there is this darker purple matte shade, which is really pretty again. That is shade Swim for the Win. Underneath that is a really gorgeous pink matte shade. That is shade Coattails, and finishing it off we have got this really gorgeous metallic orange, very vibrant and very pretty, and that is shade Grand Finale. So I think you'd agree, 12 really gorgeous shades. I'm definitely so far impressed with how they've swatched. Most of the shades have been pretty easy to swatch and have swatched how they kind of look in the pan, with the exception of Guilty Pleasure, which was much lighter than I anticipated. So I'm now going to go ahead and create a really fun eyeshadow look with some of these shades, and then I'll be following that up with my final thoughts and reviews on the Thin Within palette. So first things first, I'm going to lay down an eye base before I pop down any of these gorgeous shades, and I'm going in with my Beauty Bay eye base in base 2. So the first shade I'm going to go in with is this lighter of the 2 purple matte shades. This was shade Water Orchid, and I'm going to start off by applying that all over my lid. I'm excited to see how well this performs on my eye, because I've only actually tried one other Shein palette so far, and I was actually pretty impressed with it, so I do definitely have high hopes for this one. Okay, the purple is definitely translating quite nicely. I feel like I'm going to have to get quite a bit on my brush though to get the real vibrant colour payoff that I want, but I have to say there's no real loose powder or chalkiness or fallout in the palette itself, which is absolutely excellent considering the price of this palette, which I will get to a bit later. I think that's applying really nicely, and this is actually a really, really gorgeous purple shade. But yeah, so far I'm really, really impressed with that purple shade. So there is that first purple shade, Water Orchid, down on both eyes, and I'm so impressed. It's so vibrant, it's applied really easily, it's kind of buffed out at the edges really easily, and I'm interested to see now how it's going to blend with the other shades, because that's kind of the problem I had with the last palette, is that when it came to actually blending the shades it was a bit more difficult. I mean, I got there in the end, but they weren't the easiest to blend. So I'm going to go in with shade Coattails, this really gorgeous pink that you would have seen swatch, and I'm just going to pop that really just like on the top edge of where I've got Water Orchid, just as like a little hint of pink. Again, this shade did swatch really beautifully, so I'm really hoping that it's going to translate again well onto my eye. So just going to pop this, yeah, like right at the top of where I've got shade Water Orchid, just as a bit of pinky highlight up towards my brow bone. It's definitely coming through quite nicely. It is blending actually quite well with Water Orchid, which, as I said like 2 seconds ago, was my fear that, not really fear, but my concern was that it wasn't going to be super blendable. I just think that's added a really nice kind of extra dimension to that first shade, which I really like. The two shades do go really lovely together anyway. Kind of expected pink and purple, but yeah, so far so good with that one as well. Okay, and then I think last up for the matte shades, I'm going to use this darker purple here just in my very outer corner and kind of into my crease. So this was shade Swim for the Win, and again that one swatched really nicely, so I'm hoping this one's going to blend well with the other two shades as well. I just want a bit of depth in the outer corner. Again, it's not coming across like chalky or anything. I think the only shade that's come across a bit chalky when I swatched it and in the palette was that yellow, which was Island Fever, but the other matte shades all faring up really, really well. And I do think the tones of the shades, like the actual shades themselves, are really, really pretty, and I'm definitely loving these pinks and purples that I've used so far. So that should be pretty good. Just a little bit of something extra in the outer corner just to create a bit of depth, and then I'm gonna have a little think about which of those sparkly glitters I'm going to use, because I definitely want to use one for this look. I think before I pop down the glitter, I'm going to get my under eye done, just so then I'm not kind of fiddling around too much with my eye, and I don't want to disturb the glitter because I don't really know how well it's going to stick or apply to my eye area. And obviously the last thing I want is just to get a face covered with glitter or glitter in my eye or something like that. So I'm going to go back in first with shade Water Orchid just on the inner part of my under eye, and then I'm going to do Swim for the Win just to blend out in the kind of outer corner of my under eye, just to keep that bit of darkness and bit of depth that I've got going on my top lid. So I've just gone for this flatter brush for that. Okay, considering I've got no eye base on my under eye, this shade is applying really nicely. Again, like no fallout whatsoever from it. A little bit in the palette, but none on my actual eye. I think that's applied really well, because even more so considering I've got no eye base. So yeah, definitely a big tick for the pigmentation of the mattes in this palette. Now I'm just going in with Swim for the Win just on the very outer part. And that's definitely applied really easily and really nicely as well. So there is all of the pink and purple, all of the matte shades done, and I tell you what, I've been really impressed so far. They've blended well, they've buffed out nicely, they've been very vibrant and pigmented, and I'm, yeah, so far really happy. So I am now going to go ahead and pop one of those really stunning glitters on my top lid just to finish the eyeshadow look off. And first things first, I'm going to be using my Barry M glitter fixer gel. I absolutely swear by this stuff. It's absolutely fantastic. It's so inexpensive as well, and in my opinion it's just the best glitter glue I've used. It's also vegan, which is absolutely fantastic. So I've just got this flat brush here, just like a concealer brush, and I'm just going to pop that I think kind of the first half of my eyelid. I'm going to do this one eye at a time so the glitter gel doesn't have a chance to dry too much. So I'm happy with that. I opted to use Hooked on You, which was that silver glitter. In my opinion, I think it swatched the most gorgeously out of all of the 4 glitters, so I thought I'd give that a go. Almost like foil on the brush. I'm really hoping this is going to apply well. Oh wow, honestly it's just like dragging foil across your eyelid. It's so soft for a glitter as well. It's really soft and buttery. I've never had a glitter formula quite like it, to be honest, but that is absolutely wild. I think maybe I'm going to pop a little shimmer, maybe a bit of that Guilty Pleasure, just to break up the glitter and the matte. I didn't think this was going to be so glittery, but I am so impressed. I think that is so gorgeous. It'd be really great for like a festival or something, I think. So there was like the smallest amount of fallout onto my cheek from that glitter, but aside from that, I'm really impressed. It's so sparkly. I really hope you can get how sparkly it is on my eyeshadow. It does feel like it's gonna stay there all day. It doesn't feel like a grainy glitter. It doesn't feel like it's gonna irritate my eyes or anything, which obviously is a big plus. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my other eye done and then just finish off the rest of my look. So there is both eyes now done, and I'm so happy with how these shades have performed. Obviously I just need to finish off my entire look. I'm going to be using this black eyeliner pencil from Primark in my waterline. I'm going to be using this black mascara from Colourpop. This is the Act Natural Defining Mascara. And then just to finish it off, just to tie in with that sparkle I've got on my lid, I'm going to be using this Colourpop Ultra Glossy Lip in the shade Here's to You. And there is my final look, all completed using the Sheglam Fin Within palette. So I will give you a close-up of the eyeshadow just so you can see that in a bit more detail. And I'm really loving this look. I think if you wanted to glam it up even more, you could probably pop on a pair of false eyelashes, but I really like it how it is. I'm definitely going to feel really happy going about the rest of my day with this eyeshadow look. And I also think as well the sparkly gloss lip just really adds to it as well without, you know, making it too over the top. So let me know what you think about the look and what your thoughts are about the palette from what you've seen. So now that I've swatched all of the shades and had a little play around with them to create this look, I'm just going to give some final thoughts about the palette. So this palette, as I've said a million times, is the Sheglam Fin Within palette. It is 100% vegan and cruelty free, and also the cardboard packaging is biodegradable, which is fantastic. So obviously it comes with 12 really gorgeous shades, very tropical, very pretty. There's no mirror in the palette, but the palette itself is quite a good size and does come with the matching uni carton as well, which is great. I think the price of this palette is absolutely fantastic as well. So it is $11.95 in Australian dollars, which yeah, I think is an absolutely outstanding price. And despite the price being so reasonable and so affordable, the quality of the palette is actually outstanding. It's definitely far exceeded my expectations. The shades that I used just applied really well and are really vibrant and are really vivid, and I'm interested to see how well they last throughout the day. They swatch really lovely, and if you're, you know, a fan of a pressed glitter like I am and a fan of a bright eyeshadow look and an eyeshadow palette, then I think you'll definitely love this palette. So I'd really like to know if you've tried out this palette or whether you've tried out anything else from Sheglam. I have a few other palettes from them that I'm just itching to try out and review for you guys and for myself as well, so no doubt they'll be coming soon as well. But yeah, let me know what you thought about the look, what you thought about the palette, and if you've got any other recommendations for any Sheglam makeup you've tried or any other palettes you'd like me to review, then let me know. But thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give the video a big thumbs up, leave me a comment, and if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you again in my next video.